Once again, our hearts are broken in New York City and the NYPD. With me here are Mayor de Blasio, First Deputy Commissioner Ben Tucker, Chief of Patrol Rodney Harrison, Chief of Queens South Patrol Borough Dave Barrere, Chief of Detectives Dermot Shea, President of the DEA Mike Palladino, NYPD Chief Surgeon Dr. Eli Kleinman, William Lynch, Chief Operating Officer here at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center, Chief of Surgery Dr. Ken Fretwell, and from the Queens DA's office, Jack Ryan. I'm going to turn it over to the Mayor right now. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioners. A very difficult, painful night for our city. We lost a very good man, Detective Brian Simonson. 18 years on the job, protecting the people of this city. And Commissioner O'Neill and I just spent time with Detective Simonson's family, and it was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. His mom, who has suffered so much, his wife, the shock that they're feeling was so painful to see. And we told the Simonson family that New York City Police Department would be there for them. The people in New York City would be there for them. For as long as they lived, we would support them. And it was some small comfort to them in this moment of agony. I want to just note how difficult it is for our men and women in uniform to go into a situation like this one. The Commissioner will go over the details. But to go into a situation where people's lives are in danger, where there's someone with a weapon ready to recklessly use it at any moment, and our officers, our detectives, our sergeants go in selflessly to protect others, and they know it's a moment where they cannot hesitate, where even a moment of hesitation could mean a life is lost. And that bravery and that resolve is something we all need to understand, even though most of us have never experienced that kind of split-second decision. The sergeant we visited as well. We wish him a speedy recovery, but so clear that his bravery was so clear, but his pain to have lost his colleague was so clear as well. I want to thank all the doctors, all the staff at Jamaica Hospital for everything they've done. And I want to thank all the elected officials who came here this evening in solidarity, Speaker Johnson and Council members Richards and Adams, Assembly Member Weprin, the labor leaders, of course, Mike Palladino, Roy Richter. Everyone is here, common cause, to support this family and to mourn together. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight in Queens, on-duty detective Brian Simonson was shot and killed while doing his job. He was 42 years old and had 19 years in the NYPD, all of it serving the people who live and work in the 102 precinct. Detective Simonson is married. As the mayor said, we spoke with his wife and his mom a short time ago. His sergeant, also assigned to the 102 precinct detective squad, was shot one time. He's in stable condition, also here at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center. The information I'm about to tell you is preliminary. It's just a few hours old and subject to change as the circumstances become more clear. At this hour, I will tell you that this appears to be an absolute tragic case of friendly fire. This evening at 6:10 p.m., two separate 911 callers reported a robbery in progress at a T-Mobile cell phone store located at 91-62, 120th Street in Queens. The callers described the suspect as a male armed with a firearm. At least one of the callers said two employees of the store had been forced at gunpoint to the rear of the store. Detective Simonson and his sergeant were in the area working on an unrelated case when they heard the call come over the radio. They did not hesitate. They responded immediately and pulled up to the scene just as patrol units arrived from the 102. Through the windows of the store, the officers did not see anyone inside. The officers then entered the store, immediately saw a man fitting the description of the suspect, emerged from the back, pointing at them what appeared to be a handgun. With the suspect advancing toward them, the officers discharged their weapons and retreated out of the store. That was when Detective Simonson was shot. His fellow officers put him in a marked police car and transported him here, where the trauma staff did their best to try to save him, and we thank them for that. They were unable to do so. The sergeant, who has 8.5 years with the NYPD, was shot one time in the leg. A passerby in a civilian vehicle stopped and helped him into the car and transported him here also. He is listed in stable condition. Make no mistake about it. Friendly fire aside, it is because of the actions of the suspect that Detective Simonson is dead. The suspect, a 27-year-old resident and career criminal, was shot multiple times. He was taken by ambulance from the scene to Booth Memorial Hospital in Queens, where he's listed in stable condition. Recovered by the police at the scene was an imitation firearm. Again, I want to thank all of the staff at Jamaica Hospital for the high level of care they always show our police officers. I've been here all too many times. Tonight highlights the incredibly brave actions NYPD members perform each day in the name of fighting crime and keeping people safe in every neighborhood. This is an absolute tragedy, the worst outcome any police officer or family of a police officer could ever imagine. And the sympathies and prayers of the entire New York City Police Department are with the family and colleagues of Detective Simonson tonight. And I hope that all New Yorkers understand how difficult a job that of an NYPD officer is. Mike Palladino.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. This is very painful. It's painful for me personally, for the members of the Detectives Endowment Association, and of course all the members of the 102nd Precinct Detective Squad and the members of the NYPD. Brian was a good man. He was a good detective. Just to tell you a little bit about him, I saw him this morning. Whether you know it or not, he's the elected delegate of the 102nd Precinct Detective Squad. And what that means is his fellow detectives, they saw leadership skills in him. He was the kind of fellow that led by example, not by words, led by his actions. He didn't have to be at work tonight. Because he's the delegate in the 102nd Detective Squad, and today was the delegates' meeting this morning, he was actually excused from duty. But we had this pattern going, and he felt compelled to go to the delegates' meeting, ignore the excusal, and go to work. And that's why we are here tonight. I don't know much about the perpetrator. I'm told, I don't have the exact facts, that he has a rather extensive arrest record. And I think we have to ask the question, was why was someone with such an extensive arrest record out in the street and not incarcerated? Thank you.
I'm going to take a couple questions. Miles.
So, detective, the sergeant working in the 102 squad, because they were responding to this incident, they work in the squad, were bullet resistant vests in use in this incident?
And it's, as you know, Miles, every time there's a firearms discharge, a force investigation division does a complete investigation of the facts and circumstances, and that's going to be part of the investigation. Yeah.
Chief, how many officers fired?
And there were multiple officers fired, multiple rounds. Yeah, Josh.
Commissioner, the detectives, the detective and the sergeant were in the back. They went around the back, and then so the suspect was between them, or?
No, everybody came through the front. It was in the front. I'm not going to go too deep into this yet.
Where are both the officers from?
As far as?
Where they live?
No, I'm not going to get into that.
Were there any accomplices with the suspect?
Right. That's at this point in the investigation, he appears to have been alone, but that's again part of the ongoing investigation. Two more.
I know they were out there because of the robbery pattern, but was this robbery?
No, they were on an unrelated case, John, and that's it.
Is there more than one suspect in the country at this time?
No, there's one right now. Okay, thank you very much.
Will you still travel later this week?
Folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor DeBlasio, will you still travel later this week?